There it is, guys. We are live. Tonight here on the Rustbelt Mechanic, we are going live here, being able to talk with myself. We're going to be talking in Shop Talk, and we're also going to be talking with Tony over with 410 Auto. Tony, how's it going, man?
Man, it's wonderful right now. It's busy in the shop. I can't complain that it's busy. When it's slow, then you complain. So right now, I'm enjoying the summer, being busy at the shop, and hanging out with you guys.
Heck yeah, that's what I'm talking about. So this week, we had a hell of a hot week in the shop. It was kind of crazy, kind of insane. After coming back from the big truck show that I had this last weekend, dude, it was so hard getting back into the swing of things. I was in, just truck mode, being able to do YouTube stuff, filming, editing, and then all of a sudden I got to go back to work and do this. And I'm like, wow, that was like the biggest change of gears I think I've ever had to do. Between that and like going on vacation and coming back, it was like that all over again. It kind of sucked. 90 degrees in Chi-Town even. How about that, Andy?
Yeah, I think this whole entire week's probably been in the 90s, but with the humidity feeling 96, 100, it's been pretty brutal. And we don't have AC. We were supposed to get it this year, but I don't think it's happening. Plus, it's already too late if they start it.
Mr. Dow in the house. What's up, Justin? I do apologize to everybody who's been on to Justin's channel. He was talking about the big YouTuber meetup down in Halls, Tennessee this next weekend. Unfortunately, I will not be the ones who will be able to make it. I was not able to get off for this next weekend. So I unfortunately have to work this next Saturday. So I'm not going to be able to make it down there for that one. But if you guys do any live streams or anything while you're down there, Justin, just let me know and I'll be able to tune into them in the evenings and stuff. Being like a 7.5 hour drive, it's just not able to make it in that time frame, unfortunately. So one of the big things that I wanted to bring up on stream tonight was something that actually Justin had talked to me about in a previous kind of setting where we were, live streaming and talking about one of my previous videos. And that was the use of parts, dealership parts, aftermarket parts, and the warranty that those parts cover. Now, in the dealership that I work at, we usually like to push the Chrysler side of things, the Mopar parts, because working at the dealership, they're there to sell parts. They make more money on the dealership parts because, it's their stuff. So they're obviously going to make more money at that. So that's what they're going to kind of try to push. I'd say probably 80% or so ahead of the time that they are going to be a better part usually. But there's sometimes when, just my opinion might be they're way overpriced for what they are, or they might just be junk in all points. So when I talk to customers about selling them jobs, if they're asking me personally because the service writer is like, hey, can you explain this to them? I have to go and talk to the customer and explain what these parts are going to be for, and as well as the warranty that they're going to cover. Now, on the Mopar side of things, I know Tony, he's over on GM land. I won't hold it against it too much for that one. But we've got, usually on our Mopar parts that we have, they're carrying a 2-year unlimited mileage warranty. Do you know what your guys' dealer parts carry?
I think ours is about the same nowadays. It's, I think, 2 years, unlimited mileage. And I think maybe regardless of the owner, I believe as well, as long as you have, I guess, documentation, if the previous owner gives you the paperwork as well. And like you are, we always recommend OEM, and then we have our AC Delco brand that we push as well, which is cheaper. And usually we don't ever, they tell us not to push any kind of aftermarket product just because the warranty on labor. So, but if we do use an aftermarket part, we don't warranty any labor. The customer will have to repay the labor of whatever that job costs. So if it costs an hour, they're going to have to pay another hour to reinstall that part if it's a parts warranty issue.
Yeah, I definitely get that one. Like other guys are pointing up in the chat, 3-year warranty on engines. There are a couple of things that do carry different warranties. One of those being big drivetrain parts. They usually carry a 3-year I think it's 100,000-mile warranty on the Mopar side of things. And then there's a couple things that are actually a less warranty, and meaning like wearable parts, wiper blades, brake pads, that kind of thing. And that was one of the hardest things to be able to tell customers when they purchase these things, that not everything has a lifetime warranty. Heck, you guys go into aftermarket part stores and stamped right on those brake pads box, lifetime warranty. That is not so the case. Even with the aftermarket brake pads and all, they are not aftermarket or a full lifetime warranty for the wear on the pads. They're going to be a full lifetime warranty for manufacturer's defects, meaning like the backing material breaks, comes apart, something separates in it, those things. So telling a customer, yeah, it said lifetime warranty, but it's not really a lifetime warranty. Some customers really don't get that one. Do you see that very often?
Yeah, there's a lot of customers that will just assume that they have a warranty for the life of it, like wiper blades. I think, to be honest, we had an incident where the lady bought a set of wiper blades, and 10 months later they were ripped apart, and somehow I still don't understand fully, but they warranted her wiper blades up to almost a year. And she got away with it. I don't know if it's because she was complaining and complaining and complaining, and then they just said, what, we'll just give it to you to get you out the door. So there's a lot of stuff where it'll just be like, I guess you guys have it as well, Goodwill.
Yeah, we do have that in some circumstances, even though we really don't like to use that as much. But yeah.
Yeah. My part is like, if a customer consistently comes back to your shop, purchases like multiple repairs throughout the life of the vehicle, that's a customer where you hate to say it, but you would love to see a Goodwill happen to that person. And the majority of the time, it feels like they get denied. And then the customer that comes into your shop that's never been it, and they either do a cost comparison calculator, run it through the calculator, they get a percentage off, and just say a 10-hour job that was COD now is warranty at 3 or 4 hours.
Exactly. And I personally would say I'd like to see any of those Goodwills go to customers who are reoccurring customers and the ones that actually spend money. And that's something that's kind of the discretion of the service manager / service writer at the time. They're able to look into that, and within a certain amount of mileage and time on the Chrysler side of things, at least, they're able to do Goodwill warranties. Now, when you're thinking about Goodwill warranties, you have to look at both the customer side of things and the manager side of things. If you are a customer who is continually coming back to the dealership, spending money on maintenance, even if it's not like really large things, but you're doing your oil changes regularly and you have some record with the dealership, you're more than likely able to get any kind of Goodwill warranties at the time if you have issues right around the time on which your warranty expires. But if you're one of those customers where you bought the car somewhere else, you never brought it into that dealership, you never got any kind of maintenance or anything done with that, more than likely that dealership isn't going to want to help you out. They're not required to. Yes, you can call and bitch to, the manufacturer or anything like that, but that's only going to get you so far. You're not going to get any kind of, good wayfare with the actual dealership where your car's at. They're not going to want to treat you awesome because you just complained to the manufacturer, and then the manufacturer is forcing them to do something under warranty that, maybe they didn't really want to do. So it's not really that great of a situation to be in for either party. Biggest thing would be to, if you're wanting to have some kind of a warranty on your vehicle, try to keep a really good working relationship with the dealership that you're actually going to be using, or someplace that's close to you in that circumstance in which, your car might need something under warranty, but technically it's not covered.
So do you guys use a company called like LKQ for your like used transmission, used engines, and use like powertrain components as well, or no?
Now, yes, in some circumstances, because the dealership that I work at, we also have a car and credit lot, buy here, pay here kind of lot, where we do have some older vehicles, used vehicles. We do sell used things on our, used side of the dealership lot as well. But usually when we're selling those, they're actually more at a premium cost, and we tend to use manufacturer-specific parts. Yes, we will use aftermarket things in some circumstances, but when we're talking transmissions and stuff, for instance, this last week, I actually got a hold of you because we had I believe it was a Denali 6-liter. We put a new transmission in it, and we actually got it from a GM dealership. And little do we know that the new transmissions come with the transmission control module built into them, and they have to be programmed by a GM scan tool before they'll even come out of, lockup, limp mode, third gear, or whatever it is. And, we found out, oh, that kind of sucks. But those are the kind of parts that we usually use, but we do have some kind of junkyards where for those buy here, pay here ones that we offer it to them. We never actually recommend it because the warranty on those, yeah, it might cover that part, but you're still going to be on the hook for the labor anytime after that because it's not our fault that that part went bad. It's just like you going to a junkyard, getting a part, and, yeah, they'll swap the part out for you, but they're not going to pay you to put it in your car again. So that's why we kind of lean away from those. Let's see. Yep, everybody in the house. JRC, what's up, buddy? Andrew V, Junk from work. You working hard yet? You getting into that Ford dealership? Plans for next month's Toolheads crate box. This guy's trying to put a pry bar into that box already. We're just going to say it's going to be a killer box. We've got the next 2 months or so pretty much planned out, and things are getting better and better and better every month. We're working with some really cool tool companies, and here really soon, probably tonight or tomorrow, we're going to be announcing the Golden Wrench tools. And actually, for the 39 people watching, I can announce that to you guys. For the Toolheads Crate Golden Wrench winners this month, you're going to be actually 3 winners. You're going to have a gold, silver, and a bronze wrench winner for this next month. And all of those are going to be courtesy of Motivex tools. If you saw Tony's channel, he actually did a review on a couple of sets of Motivex tools. The socket, ratchet, and extension sets that they come with, they're going to be offering those up. So we're going to have bronze is going to be getting a 1/4-inch drive set, like the one that you saw in there. Silver is going to get a 3/8, and the Golden Wrench winner is going to get a full 1/2-inch set. So those are some pretty badass sets, I would have to say so myself. I just got them this last week to be able to have a look at them, and you guys are going to be really impressed by getting those for the winners. So that's going to be something really cool for you guys coming up here in the next couple of weeks.
See, that's what every month you guys are getting better and better each and every month. Like the more vendors you guys get, the more discounts you'll get throughout, the upcoming months, the more stuff that you guys are putting into these boxes as well. Like I love the t-shirts, but I was okay that you guys swapped out the t-shirt for the tire pressure monitor tool. I said I was been eyeing it for a while, just never actually went on to buy it. So I was like excited that I opened it up and there was a new tool that I could use at work along with the other tools as well.
Exactly. And it's one of those things where the crate service is kind of a new thing coming onto the market. And a lot of the tool manufacturers that we talk to, I'm pretty sure every time I call one of them, they just act kind of dumbfounded, like they have no clue in the world what a crate service box is in the first place. And then once I actually have to get through the whole spiel to be able to go through and tell them what it is, then they're like, oh, yeah, that actually makes sense. But a lot of them don't know that. So becoming relevant on the market is one of those things where, it actually gets your name out there, and not only to the people who are purchasing the box, but to the companies who would want to be the ones advertising and putting their things in the box and giving you good enough discounts to get you better deals for those things on the box. So that's kind of one of the things where, we've kind of been battling and getting better and better because we're becoming more relevant on the market for it.
Yeah, like the was it Zolex, the hand cleaner, that works really good. The smell of it's really good, and then the box cleaner product for your toolbox, and you can use it on your wheels and tires as well.
That's exactly what I used it for this last weekend. I used it on the wheels of my truck because, toolbox isn't so shiny, so they don't have a flat toolbox cleaner yet.
Yeah.
Yet, not quite yet, but they will be getting there.
Sorry, my daughter's
She's going crazy, man. She wants to be
She's
on
excited.
TV.
She wants to be on.
Bring her on. Come on, let's see her. This is all family friendly
I know.
atmosphere.
Mommy has her. They're making pizza.
Oh man, you're gonna miss out on pizza night.
I know.
Oh man. So
So
yeah, I guess going on with a couple of the things that we kind of wanted to get to tonight, in the way of parts warranties and parts usage. I saw a couple of people asking in here. Justin had asked on the markup of tools, or the markup of the parts that you guys use. We do have a markup of. She's not happy at all.
I know.
You can go to daddy, but you're not allowed to go on camera.
All right.
Oh,
Mommy's the boss. It's alright.
it's all good. So when we use aftermarket parts at our dealership, we do have a markup for them. Now, where you guys are asking about what the markup is on those, now that's a kind of a discretion thing between, what the parts manager does and what they want to be able to put those things through. And I'll be the first one to say where they're marked up a lot. If we have to purchase something aftermarket to be able to use onto a vehicle, it's not going to be fair for that customer, really. And not fair for the customer in that sense of that they can actually purchase that part for themselves at a, AutoZone or whatever by themselves, much cheaper. But the parts department, they still have to make money. They're not on, just making dimes here and there off of the brake pads that they sell. No, they have to make money to pay for all of the time and stuff that they have to do for looking up these parts and everything that you're not willing to do as the customer either. You want the dealership to do that for you. So they have to mark up those parts. And I would say that our dealership markup is right around 65% is what they are. And yes, the dealership does get some sort of discount off of some of those parts, but it's not a 65% discount. So a big, thing to you guys who are taking your cars to a dealership and you might have to get some aftermarket parts bought, you're probably better off buying those parts yourself because you're going to get taken cleaner in at least in my opinion for that one. How's that at your dealership?
Yeah, so our parts is a little high on markup, and we ask every once in a while we're able, like, depends. If you're a fleet company, you have a set price of a straight list, and then a customer is a little bit above list. I think maybe 10%, or it depends on if it's a bigger ticket item like an engine or trans, or everything is completely different, and it's sometimes it's not negotiable, and we'll go to our service manager and say, hey, we're about to lose this sale because the customer can't afford it because the price of the parts is way too expensive.
Yeah, I definitely get that one. And it sucks sometimes for those customers to have to go through that. But, like I said, the parts department there is not really there to, try to upsell a lot of aftermarket parts and everything. So they still have to put their time and money into sourcing those out to you. The markup for them, yes, it is a lot, but that's how they kind of make money. They're not a helpful cause kind of place. They're there to make money for themselves on top of that. But as far as what about the circumstance where you want to purchase parts or things from another manufacturer's dealership? So like I said earlier, when we purchase a transmission from a GM dealership, usually we've got a GM dealership where we're pretty in good standing with them. So they'll give us the dealership trade amount plus I think 5% right around there, and they won't deliver anything to us. We have to go pick it up usually. So that's usually the thing that we have worked out with that. What about you?
So for us, there's a lot of dealerships that are close around to us, and there's of course other GM dealerships that we will go out and purchase, but it's pretty much they'll sell it to us either at list or, like you said, like 5-10% over what they pay for. And if it's an item that is, just say like they've had a transmission sitting there for well over a year and they're trying to push that off, they'll even sell it to our parts department like minus 10% off a list to get it off their shelf, and then give us maybe like $100 Visa credit card for purchasing that item.
Huh. Now, so that's something that's really cool in the way of parts departments actually trying to, sell some of their old stock inventory.
And then we are lucky enough that we have I think we own a Oarsman. I mean, we own a Volkswagen store, a Chrysler store, a Honda store, but it's like further away from us, like over an hour away from us sometimes. So we'll get an order from them, but then they'll deliver it to another dealer that does deliver to us. So sometimes we'll, play, hey, if you pick that up, we'll pick this up for you and do like a trade-off.
That's pretty nice. That is really nice in that one. But there are some circumstances in which, the other dealerships, they're not really willing to play ball that easily. I found that out this last weekend when I did, which you guys haven't seen the video yet because I haven't got to editing yet. I swapped out the drive shaft on my Duramax from a 2-piece to a 1-piece drive shaft. And I actually picked up a 1-piece drive shaft out of a 2017 L5P Duramax. Big, huge 1-piece aluminum drive shaft. Picked it up from the only GM dealership in the country to have one in stock. Just so happened to be at Indianapolis on my way there. And the problem we were running in with the place that I was getting it done at, they usually have a good working relationship with their GM store, and they were going to sell it to them at the trade cost. Well, they didn't have it in stock, and they couldn't get it in stock. The only place to have it was Indy. Indy, that store does a lot of online sales. They will not sell their parts to even any other GM dealerships at trade cost. They will only sell at 25%, something like that, above trade cost. So I'm like, really? You wouldn't even do that to your own GM dealerships or anything like that? Nope. So we had to end up paying 25% above trade costs on that freaking drive shaft. Kind of pissed me off, but they got to make money too, and they got to slither it out of some people's pockets in one way or form or another. Yeah, all these cool guys going down to Tennessee this next weekend.
Yeah, Justin Dow reached out to me and asked me if I could go, but like every weekend we have pretty much something planned. I think this upcoming weekend we're getting our tattoos done, so that's something interesting as well. So it's just crazy. You have your own family. Every weekend is pretty much already planned out for the entire week, entire summer.
Don't forget the 15 hours a week of YouTube time.
Yeah. Because you usually pump out between three videos a week sometimes.
Yeah, usually that's what I try to do. I get out at least 2 a week, plus a live stream, sometimes 3 or so. So when you're talking about doing editing and everything like that, usually I take into account where I don't like to put in any more than that, but I put in about 15 hours a week into YouTube stuff between shooting, editing, networking. That's another big part on the YouTube thing, is getting on with talking with other channels, commenting, watching other videos, so that you're at least relevant in the scene as well.
Oh yeah, with more and more channels I'm like becoming friends with, more people, it's more videos trying to watch, squeeze in. Sometimes I'm like a day behind, 2 days behind on trying to catch up with other channels' videos and trying to catch up with people's live streams, hop in and out.
Oh yeah, I definitely know how that one is. Thankfully, this last, was it 2 weeks ago or a week or so ago, when I went up to Wisconsin, I was able to actually shoot a bunch of videos. But that week prior and prepping for that, I didn't get but 1 video out. That's all I, kind of got there. But that weekend, I literally shot like 4 or 5 videos. So I still have 2 or 3 that I have sitting there that still need edited, as well as the other videos that I still need to keep up on, because I've got either products that I'm doing reviews on, or, just doing more nifty tools videos that you guys always love. Those always, make a big hit. But, trying to keep up on that as well as the old stuff that I have, it's a good problem to have, but it's still a problem to have. You got Justin Dow said there's Bruce Allen, Garnett Tools, Jay Young, Kuhn Trucking, Hazel, Ken the car guy, Snap Mac. Oh man, all kinds of cool people going to be down there. You guys better be doing some really killer videos and live streams. I I have to say, with all that kind of a lineup, putting everybody's big old heads into one freaking building, that place is going to be like floating away.
There's gonna be so many cameras with everyone trying to film. You're gonna see like so many different people putting out videos with everyone in the background filming at the same exact time.
Mm-hmm.
But
Now,
it looks like it'll be a blast to meet all those guys that are going out there as well.
yeah, exactly. I think if we had more time to plan things out, I think it would be really cool to do a tool and mechanic YouTuber like meetup, big thing. You know, if we can get something planned for this next year, I think that would be a really cool big meetup to be able to do someplace in the middle of the U.S. You know, to meet up. I think that would be something really awesome.
So I like the last time I was on Justin's Dallas live stream, I had asked him, would you ever open up another shop with a fellow YouTuber?
Mm-hmm. So, I mean, technically I have. Technically I haven't. Not a shop, but me and JRC with the Toolheads crates is pretty close to business enough. It goes with that one. So, you know, and it's something to where the trust factor is pretty big in that one. So me and Jim, we have a lot of the same ideas, and we agree on a lot of the same things. There are some things we don't agree on sometimes, but you know, that's difference in personalities. But you know, a lot of the things we do, and having a nice business partner like that to work with is something cool and kind of rare. Yeah, Vegas 2020, Junk from Work's in. That's what I'm talking about. See, what you could say, Junk from Work, is you could come to Vegas this November. We could do Vegas 2019 and make it a hell of a blast.
You going what in November, right?
Yeah, I'm going there for SEMA. It's going to be, I believe, the 5th, 6th, 7th, and 8th. We're going to be there at SEMA. So I got my itinerary this last week for that one. We found out the hotel and stuff that we're staying at. They're like, yeah, everything's totally renovated. It's going to be a great place to stay. I'm like, all right, which one is it? Oh, you remember the one on the news, the hotel where all the shootings happened? Yeah, it might have been on that one, in that hotel. I'm like, oh, great. Awesome, that one. Well, I guess to keep people all happy and staying there, they've totally renovated, I guess, 2 floors of that to make it totally new and fresh. So I, give them for that one. Plus, it's like one of the closest hotels to the convention centers right there on the Strip. So it sounds like it's going to be a really great time.
Yeah, I would assume so. I guess like you said, a little bit at first, I'd definitely be a little sketched out, and then like, well, they completely destroyed it, made it brand new. So I know they probably upgraded their security system and all that. So it should be all nothing but fun as you go there.
Yeah, I think it's going to be something that's, totally overwhelming, actually. From what I've heard, people who have been there before, it's something that you'll never be able to see all of it in that 1 week. And I'm going to be spending a couple of, hours a day here and there with a couple of different tool manufacturers and stuff, hopping around, trying to see as much as I can, but I don't know how much I'm actually going to be able to see. I've got something shiny syndrome too much to where, I'm going to try to get as much information as I can, but we'll see how that one goes. Now, I do have a quick little thing to be able to ask you on, and it's something of one of those subjects that you actually brought up for the new guys who are coming into this career as a mechanic. Big thing you guys worry about is tools. Probably 60% of the messages, emails, questions that I get from technicians is this a good deal? What kind of tools do I need to start out? I'm here going to be as a diesel technician. What do I need to start out there? And, just everything stems out from there. So we're going to give a situation here for you. So say you are a new technician, you know what you know right now, and you are going into this field. Starting off, you have your toolbox already set, and you're going to have a lot of the basic stuff. You got your screwdrivers, you got a basic set of pliers, sockets, ratchets, the basic easy stuff that is there, hammers, maybe some punches, little stuff like that, lights. So one tool at a time, we'll go back and forth here, and we'll add what is the next most important tool as a newer technician getting into the field? Obviously, you're not going to go for some like $9,000 scan tool because that's not where you're going to be at in your career. What tools do you add to that toolbox that you think is most important?
DVOM, a multimeter, because even if you're just doing a quick battery, like seeing what the battery voltage is at, or like a small test, headlight bulbs out, you want to test, small little circuits that you can easily test, probably, just a DVOM.
That's a pretty good one, and I was actually going to do something close to that. I was going to say a test light, just to be able to have one of those ones with the small voltage screen on it, something along those lines. But that is something I would definitely agree with. The DVOM would work for that one. So I'll go with something a little bit different. One of the next most important tools that I think helps technicians in at least starting off, they work with a lot of fluids, fluid fills and stuff, and coolant is one of the biggest things. And one of the biggest tools to save me the most time is one of the vacuum coolant fill tools. I think that is like one of the best time-saving tools I've ever bought. Hands down, has made me the most money for the tool that I've ever had.
Yeah, I own the Snap-on one that you can get from the Snap-on, and it works perfect when you're doing like a heater core and you need to get all the air out of the system when you're trying to refill it. It makes life so much easier just because, once you're done, you're on a road test, you're not gonna 95% you're not gonna have any issue with it, of a hiccup, air in the system, and then your temp gauge is not going above a certain point where you need it to go. So I'm with you right there on that coolant refill from I trust the Snap-on version. I know Cornwall makes a
That's
version.
the one I have.
I'm pretty sure Matco probably makes a version, and Mac as well. So my next go-to tool would be, so in the box you said you already have your impact.
Yeah, we'll say an air impact because that's what most people are able to readily availably get. That's all you have. Air impact, air ratchet.
Quarter-inch electric ratchet.
Quarter-inch electric ratchet. I can get behind that one. I definitely
just because a lot of GM stuff that you have to remove the bumper just to do a headlight.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, yeah,
exactly. And you need something compact and small and pretty much quick just to go and to be in and out with a headlight job or even a tail light.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. And even the Harbor Freight as a quarter-inch, I think to start, I don't own it, so I can't really per se, but something that's probably under $100 would be something good to have for like a Lube Tech or a GST.
Yeah, that is a good one to have for that one. Now, I think the next one that I would have to say would be going on to the half-inch electric impact. It's been one of the coolest tools that I've gotten. The Milwaukee one is what I'm kind of referring to. I've got the Milwaukee half-inch one-key impact where I'm able to change the torque settings on it. Being a lube tech or somebody newer into the industry, you're going to be big on tires. And your air one, it's going to do it every once in a while, but I like the versatility of the electric one, being able to go full power to get everything off, because that's going to take off a lug nut. Whether it's cross-threaded on there or whatnot, that lug nut is coming off there, whether you're ripping a stud off with it or not. And then when I go on, I've got a selection where I can click it down. It slows down the RPMs and the torque reading on it. So it goes in till it hits the first time or two, and I'm really close to about 100 foot-pounds on that one. So that just saves a lot of time, also getting everything to where you need in that respect.
Yeah, I haven't purchased the half-inch just yet, but I do have the both 3s. I have the regular, just a M12, and then I have the one-key M18. Like you said, it has all the torque functions that you can use, and sometimes I'll even use that just to rip off some lug nuts, and then I'll use my air impact just to put them back on. But that probably is within one of my next purchases, just because I own the quarter-inch, the 3/8, and I need to have that half-inch to complete the set of Milwaukee.
Yes, exactly.
All right, so my next tool, let's see. would have to be like like you said, you have the function to have it a torque, but a torque wrench click style if you are a quick lube guy and you do need a torque down wheels every single time, because there's certain shops that I've heard that you have to before it leaves your shop, before it leaves your bay, you have to use a torque style click style torque wrench to get it out the door.
Yeah, you definitely have to. What are you saying, Justin? You invited Mike Tyson? Now everybody has to come. Me and Mike are tight. If you get freaking Mike Tyson to come to that little tool conference in Halls, Tennessee, dude, I'll bow down to you for that one. If you can get that one to happen, I will feel absolutely horrendous that I would not be there. Yeah, that's definitely a good tool there to be able to have. Let's see, where would I go next on them? I would probably end up saying a really good. No, we won't go with that one, because I would imagine every technician's got good pry bars, but decent pry bars are definitely a good thing to have. We'll just say that those are also into the set. After that, I'm going to have to go with what someone else said earlier, and impact swivels. One of the most used sockets I ever have in my box. I hardly ever get out the standard sockets anymore. Usually I'm getting out my 3/8 impact swivel sockets for just about every job. It makes it nice in pretty much every area. People have said before, I didn't like to use those because my impact doesn't get as much torque on it. Well, nowadays the impacts are catching up with the torque numbers, so it's not really that big a deal on taking those fasteners off. So I would definitely have to say to go with the swivel impact sockets.
Yep, I can agree with that. I have the 3/8 shallow, and then the deep ones as well. And then my 1/2-inch snap-on ones they do everything I need it to do pretty much. But my next probably tool that I would have to have is probably a cheap pocket code scanner, because there's some, if you're a GST, if you're doing a flush or an induction service, sometimes those induction service will set a code in the system, and you need something to be able to clear it out at the same time.
Mm-hmm.
Instead of running to, at the dealership, ours is we use either a Tech 2 or an MDI 1 or 2, and it takes a little bit longer to set those up compared to a quick pocket scanner where you just plug it in, hit clear, because you know that you set a code yourself from doing a service.
Exactly. Yeah, that's one of those things where one of the salesmen or something comes to you and say, hey, we've got this sold. Yeah, the battery was dead. It was out on the lot. We had to jump it. It's running fine now. We need this code cleared. Well, rather than setting up our Y-Tech, getting it connected to the system, having to bring the vehicle in within Wi-Fi range, or setting up, my hotspot, and then, going in, setting it up, clearing the code, takes like 5 or 6 minutes, where if you have one of those quick pocket code readers, plug it in, erase, done, thank you, out the door. Yeah, that would definitely make it way nice. Some good ones here in the comments. They're saying slide hammer, some power probe. Yep, power probe, definitely. Next is going to be out of my personal book, because I love electrical work so much, is going to be for some wiring repair stuff. So I'm going to have to say one of the Torch 300 small torch tools, and some solder, good soldering, thing to go with that one, and then some good wire strippers. That nice little electrical setup. Your GM Tech, a 15 mil universal impact socket will make your life so much easier. I agree about that one. Justin wants to talk about next month's Toolheads crate again. He's trying to push hard for it, buddy.
He wants to scoop. He's gonna sell it to TMZ.
I see how it is. So, okay, so that was a pretty good, nice little setup of tools here. Now I want to talk about a little bit with the tool organization of things. You know, you guys have seen some of our boxes. We have done toolbox tours and setting things up. What is the most, I guess, efficient organization tool or organization rack setup, whatever, however you want to say it, that you have put into your toolbox to help organize it?
So you guys probably see one of my probably 3 videos back, the Ulsa tools, that style socket, holder. They sent me one out, and then I liked it so much that I just said, screw it, I'm just going to buy 2, out of pocket. That style, I believe Matco, Snap-on, they all make it as well. But I think that style, that versatility to be able to exchange them all out, if you only want the whole entire thing to be 1/4 inch or 3/8, or if you want to mix and match, I think that and tool widget for all my wrenches as well. That's saved so much space swapping out the snap-on like blow molded case into the toolbox widget for your wrenches. And it saves so much room.
Exactly. Toolbox widget is a huge thing that I would definitely want to say with, they're one of the best, most innovative things when it comes to wrenches because, dude, those blow molded cases take up so much room in the wrench drawer and it sucks so much that, I love doing that. And actually on JRC54's channel, if you guys have not seen one of his most recent uploads, he's going to be getting some of those ahead of time before, because if you guys don't know, they have started taking pre-orders for the newest, latest, greatest Series 2 of screwdrivers and wrenches, both vertical and at like a 45-degree angle. We got a chance to actually look at them and check them out. So it's one of those things where it's going to be cool to have those way ahead of time. Something else that I wanted to point out was we were actually talking with Jonathan, who's the owner proprietor of that, and he has actually he is in the running for Reader's Choice Tools of the Year for P10 magazine, which that would be something huge for him to be able to get that. And, on top of that, being able to put out this newest line of toolbox widgets out to the public at the same time. So here in the comments, I'm going to put a link in here. And this is going to be the link to the, I guess, the voting portion of the P10 magazine, where toolbox widget is one of the biggest tools in the running there in the shop equipment and tools section. So if you guys get a chance, and I'll tag it a couple more times later in the video, vote for toolbox widget in that one because they're killing it, and you guys are going to be super excited to see the new stuff that's coming out. I'm not going to give a whole lot more on that one, but I'm just going to say you're going to be excited about it. And then I also saw that some guys were talking about the Matco rail system. I don't know, Autobahn Dan kind of got his Matco system set up in there, the dots inside the drawers, and I really, really like that setup. I want to like it a lot, and the idea is perfect, except for the fact that I like to take my sockets and rails from my toolbox and put them in my tool cart for certain other jobs. It kind of doesn't make a lot of sense when you have all those little sockets that individually click into those little individual organizers. If they were to make something that clicked into those dot rails, and you were also able to take out the whole socket set and then put them into my cart, I would definitely be in the market for something like that.
Yeah, my buddy, he was at a Volkswagen store, and then he came to our dealership, and he has that same exact layout for all his sockets, and it's laid out nice, beautiful. It's nice and organized. When something's missing right away, if it's metric or standard. But like you said, you can't physically take that out. You have to physically take each individual socket, which does suck.
Yeah, that's where I'm like, I like to take, the most used sockets that I have, the impact universals. I like to take that whole rail out, just take it over, set it in my tool cart, and take that one with me, as well as my straight impacts, also in my extensions. So it'd be nice to take those as whole sets right there from that organization point and set it over into maybe another, little rail set that I've got in my tool cart. Yeah, I think that would be pretty neat. There was a good question in here that I just saw. Do you have any tools that you regret buying? I think that's a fantastic question to start on. Let you shoot for that one.
That I regret buying. I'm going to have to say probably it's kind of hard because like I try my best to use every single tool to make. If I paid $50, it has to make me $50.
Exactly, that's how I feel too.
So
The same way.
it's
This
too
stuff
hard to
gotta
say I
make
regret
money.
it. There's small and like if I'm going to take a chance, it's got to be under $50 on using it. You know. Probably I accidentally bought like I bought something off of Amazon without seeing that it was actually SAE, and I wanted metric, and it was the semi deep 3/8. That's probably what I regret. But anything other than that, I always try to make, if it costs $50, try to make $50 back off of it. So it's kind of hard to choose right now.
I would have to say that I have just about the same story, but it was with a set of wrenches that I purchased, and we got a deal so good when I was at school. You know, you got the 50% off Snap-on stuff. Plus, they gave us more off on these ratcheting wrenches. I'm like, ooh, stubby flex head ratcheting wrenches from Snap-on. I got those. I'm like, yeah, these are the coolest things ever, and they're SAE. Wow, yeah, that was kind of a dumb buy.
Yeah, I mean, like nothing that I usually work on every day is SAE, and it's all metric.
No, yeah, like next to nothing is SAE, unless I'm working on like a '96 Dakota and working on some random stuff out of that. No, it's not going to be SAE stuff. It doesn't work at all. I would have to say that, and some of my I bought some larger crow's foot, some bigger crow's foot wrenches, and I like never use those. Yep, hardly ever.
Let's see. Trying to take a photographic memory of my entire box of what tool that I regret. Probably I definitely regretted buying Harbor Freight picks because they are terrible. They're junk. They were like my beginning set that I when I first started bought them, and they were just a waste of money.
Yeah,
And
I get that one.
then I upgraded and bought the Snap-on and have never regretted those.
I bought the flat hose picks, and great idea by Snap-on. You know, those flat ones that are supposed to not mark up or mess up the radiator hoses or anything like that. But the size that those radiator hose picks are, the length that they are, I can hardly ever get them into any situation where I actually need to use them. It blows my mind. I'm like, such a good idea, but carried out, not so great. I think I've used them twice where I could actually find the right situation where I could get this longer, because it's about a 8.5 inch long, 9 inch long tool, and it curves around into a little hook and then has the flat little tool end where it's able to get in between the radiator and the hose. Having that long of a tool, I'm just not able to get it hardly into any places where it's actually usable. 3D printer. See, that's another thing, JRC, that I'm thinking about getting into doing, is because I like the idea of the rail systems and the Matco dots, the grids that you've got there, to be able to make some of my own organizational things, because I get good ideas with how I'm like, ooh, that would be good to be able to take this whole thing and fit it into this space and do it this way. But it's going to be one of those things where there's a reason they're not on the market. It's because that's like a really specialized situation. So making it for myself would be optimal, but then I also have to justify buying a whatever $800 3D printer that's worth a damn enough to be able to make these things good enough for what I want them to do. Haven't pulled the trigger on that one yet.
I think they could be pretty expensive to buy a 3D printer. I'm not too sure what the pricing is right about now, though.
I mean, you can get them for a decent price. You can get them as low as, 150, $200 even. But the quality of work that they're going to put out is pretty sketchy. And I've seen a lot of different work between, the $200 ones up to like $1,000 one. I've seen the work that comes out of those. And it's a big difference. It really is. And now that I know that this quality comes out of this one, I would have to buy that one. And, justifying that for some tool organization rails, that's why I haven't really done that. I know Ron says, yeah, we can get one for a couple $100. Yeah, I've done a lot of research, and from what I now
15 hours later.
it's stuck in my head. I can't get it out. I like buying the good shit.
Yeah, 15 hours later when it's done printing out and you're like, this is not what I had envisioned.
Exactly. When it takes like 6 hours to print this rail, and I'm like, shit, that one corner is wrong. And I'm going to look at that one corner for the rest of my life. And now I have to redo it. Throw it in the trash. There you go. They got some good ideas. We'll do some 3D printed golden wrenches. That's a good idea. Another good use for it. What other good uses can you guys come up with for a 3D printer for use with either tool organization, something related in the shop, or something along those lines that, just need to be able to find something else to do with this 3D printer? JRC needs a new light and everything for his fancy ass Snap-on pizza oven. That's what he really needs.
That is insane, that pizza oven. I would love to have it.
I know, just to say, I have it, but I know he's going to be sitting there in the shop this next week, and he's going to be like, I have pizza rolls. That's still pizza, right? I'm going to put pizza rolls inside of there. He's going to make a special tray for it. Yeah. Or Jim, how often do you use the popcorn maker? You won the stupid popcorn maker too. Now, I'd use the shit out of a popcorn maker.
I'd probably use it every 2 to 3 days. I'd probably pop popcorn.
Legit. I would have that all the time running.
I mean, I've used that little George Foreman grill at work a couple times already.
Oh, you got the George Foreman grill thing?
Yeah, I had one of those at work where I flipped it up and I was like, you know what? I'll make some hot dogs today. Just
yeah.
I got caught with a whole bunch of shit. Like, why don't you put cheese on it? I'm like, I don't like cheese. I'm sorry.
The one man in here who doesn't like the good old grilled cheese with it.
I wish I did. I loved it when I was a kid, but I don't like it no more.
I can't say anything because I'm kind of a picky eater too. Captain Ron knows. There's a lot of stupid things I don't like. The worst thing in the world to me would have to be pickles. I cannot stand the sight, the smell, the taste, or anything that has to do anything pickle. That's like one of the worst things in the world to me. I don't know. Everybody likes mayonnaise. I hate mayonnaise. Absolutely disgusting. Yeah.
Jim said he would make those hard to find plastic car parts.
Oh yeah, like a lot of those GMs where a lot of the little vent selectors are always missing.
Oh yeah, they break all the time, and in my Cobalt, like where the window switch, the little outline of it just always falls out.
Mm-hmm. Milwaukee will have the new breaker bars soon. Yeah. You've never used the popcorn maker? Jim, I'm going to come up to your shop and I'm going to steal that thing. You're not going to know where it's at. I'm going to load it in my truck. You're not going to know it. And never use that popcorn. He wanted that thing so bad. He told his Snap-on guy, I'm going to buy this much stuff. But dude, I got to win popcorn maker. I got to be able to have it. You even did an unboxing video and you haven't used the thing yet? Man.
Send it over here on the East Coast. I'd use it at the shop.
Yeah, catch some shit for that one, man. Yeah, Captain Ron's got a buddy. He's got a pretty sweet DeLorean. And of course, where are you going to find DeLorean parts or custom fit parts for a DeLorean where you could fit an iPad into the center console? Yeah, obviously all 3D printed for that one.
So I got a question for you. What's one of the vehicles you hate to work on right now that's a Chrysler product?
The vehicle that I hate to see come into the shop. Really, a lot of them I like, but the only things I absolutely hate to see are the VM diesels, and that being the diesel in the V6 in the Grand Cherokee, the V6 in the Ram 1500s, and the 4-cylinder one in the ProMasters, especially. That is the most stupidest designed engine transmission combination that was ever put into. Everybody's saying, Justin's saying PT Cruiser. Dude, PT Cruiser is like the biggest moneymaker for a Chrysler technician. You know, you'd say about the same thing for your HHRs. They're the biggest piece of crap everybody hates
Oh
working
man, I
on.
make so much money off of timing chains, suspension parts.
Right. You got good at that shit, right?
Yep. So mine would be the Explorer Express van, like the modified. Because
Dude,
anything on that is just a pain. Trying to, you got to remove the midsection to do a tune-up, and you don't want to scratch anything that's wood because it shows really easily. And that's probably one of my, and setting it up on the rack sometimes does suck. Because the two bays technically that I have a taller lift, and then I have the shorter lift. And majority of the time that I'll have something already on like the lift that goes up higher. So I'm sitting on a chair trying to rotate some tires or trying to do anything underneath. And I'm short, but it's still not, it doesn't go up high enough.
that's funny. I work on Explorer vans like 3 times a week, because our dealership deals in conversion vans so much that I don't know. It's gotten to be one of those things where I work on them so often that I know how everything is, and it's pretty simple once you get that used to it. But if you're used to working on it that much. LB7 asks if we have diesel specific techs, or is every tech dabble into diesels. At my specific shop, I am the only fully certified diesel technician in the shop. Everyone else has somewhat certifications, but I'm the only one who is specifically certified for diesels. Jim, really? You're going to have to build a whole lunchroom just to be able to use the popcorn maker, fridge, and the oven? I mean, you're going to have to build a whole room just to use it? Come on now.
In my shop, we all work on diesels, but the majority, just one technician gets it because he already has like a truck lift, and we don't really get that many diesels because we're so close to the city that there's not, people around us don't really buy diesels as much.
Gotcha.
Like there's a GM dealer that's like 30, 40 minutes away. They get slammed with nothing but diesels because that's what they sell.
Thanks for coming in, Jump for Work. I appreciate it, bud. Yeah, it's one of those things where if that's the work that you have at the shop, then you're going to be used to it. I do a lot of work on ProMasters, and probably 80% of the dealerships around in this area, they tell people to go other places because we're not a ProMaster certified dealership, and that's just for sales, respectively. They're not any different. Yeah, they look a little bit tighter, but once you get that front end off, you've got so much other stuff in there that you've got plenty of room for everything. Chris asked, repair a lot of oil filter canister housings, finding a lot of them breaking, leaking coolant. Are you talking about on the vans that we were talking about, or like the 3.6, the oil coolers and stuff? Because we do a shitload of oil coolers on 3.6 liter Chryslers, like 2 a week probably is usually what we average on those. That was just a dumb design. Speaking of dumb designs, what is the biggest moneymaker for a dumb design that GM has come out with recently here that you just make a shitload of money doing?
The 1.4 and 1.5 liter turbos that are in the Malibus and the Cruises. We do nothing but pistons, if not engine replacements on them all day long.
Really? That big?
They came out with a reprogram to change all the calibrations on it, and it just still didn't work. And they're just blowing piston number one. It's usually, it could be any one, but the majority of them is number one piston just completely shits, breaks apart, and starts misfiring. And either you can just replace, all four pistons with the rings and connecting rods, or you have to replace the engine because it scores the cylinder wall.
Yeah, that's one of the other, big things that I see. GM, they don't have quite as many recalls, I don't think, that Chrysler has. We have a recall anytime an ECM hiccups or something like that. Oh, you got to have a recall for that one. We got to get every car back in here, reprogram all of them. But we don't have very many like really big things like pistons, engines, timing chains very often. The last timing issue that we had was on Hemis. They had an issue with the tensioner and the chain on a very few amount of Hemis that we had to replace, but it wasn't any kind of recall or anything like that. I think one of the hardest recalls I said that we would have to do, I guess it's not a recall, but the left cylinder head on 3.6s, usually from the range of like 2012 through 2014, 15-ish. They had an issue where the left cylinder head and the right cylinder head on the Pentastar engines were made at two different foundries. So when they were machined for the valve seat openings, they were machined with different tolerances, and the left cylinder head, the valve seats will not seat right, and it will actually cause to burn valves and burn valve seats really easily, causing low compression in usually cylinder 2 or 4 is what we get most of the time. And yeah, you got to replace those cylinder heads so often that they've actually, the standard powertrain warranty for most of them was 5 years, 60,000 miles. Unless you have a left cylinder head that needs replaced, then that's good through 150,000 miles.
I think on our Equinoxes, I think it's either 120 or 150, but you get, warranty for your pistons on the 2.4 liters as well.
Mm-hmm.
And the same thing with water pump, balance shaft chain as well with those. And we have a lot of reprograms with our power steering control modules on our like trucks, like at the Silverado, Sierras, airbag reprograms on the on those trucks as well, 4-wheel drive reprograms.
Mm-hmm. Ryan says, I remember when Chrysler had a recall on the Concorde when you had to put a sunglasses holder on the driver's side door pillar. I remember seeing that one. I was not a full-time technician to that one, but I've heard about that one. How about the flywheels? Yeah, yes, exactly. So another story on that one. I think it was like 3 or 4 weeks ago. I had a string of flywheels that I did. For some reason, these 3.6s also have an issue with they crack the center section of the flywheel out, and it sounds like a bottom end knock. You're just swearing up and down that, dude, the bottom end of this engine is knocking and it's going to be coming apart, and it's going to be crazy. But you end up finding out, looking up through the inspection plate, yes, you can see some hairline cracks, and yeah, it ends up being the flywheel. I did 2 or 3 of them in 1 week. And then I'm on the phone with Jim that next Tuesday, and he's like, yeah, I got this stupid thing in here. It sounds like it's a bottom end knock. He's like, wait, you've listened to this? What's this sound like? Yep, that's definitely a flywheel cracked. It sounds like a bottom end knock. And then this last week, another one of the technicians in our shop, and I wasn't paying attention at the time, and he had some comebacks on this because he could have sworn that it was something along the lines of an AC compressor, because whenever the AC compressor turned off, it wouldn't knock as much. So he thought it was the compressor, and he put a compressor on it. I'm like, come on, man, really? And he did that. And then he had also put on a dampener at the same time too, because it was wobbling a little bit. That's not going to make it sound like that. Third time come back, they have me help listen in, and guess what? Cracked flywheel. Yep. How about that one? Could have pointed that one out like 6 days ago for you, buddy. That kind of sucks.
Yeah, what's one of the bigger stories that, like you said, that was like a comeback or misdiagnosis, not on your end, but what's have you heard through the shop or prior to you joining? When you were younger, like I had my shop foreman told me that a while back he had a guy that brought a car in. It was a no start, and he thought the engine was locked up. Swapped over everything over to the new engine, put it back together. Went to go start it, sounded like it was locked up again, and ended up being a locked up what's it called, alternator on it.
And he put the alternator on the new engine and it wouldn't turn over. Oh man, that would be so horrible. Justin also asked what my favorite beer was. I really like Dos Equis Amber is one of my favorite ones, actually. Surprisingly enough, if you didn't know that. So as the shop foreman in our shop, a lot of the times for a lot of these comebacks, yes, we will give it back to that technician, for them to make up for that circumstance. And yes, you need to do it and you have to fix it right. But if it comes back a second time or a third time or whatever, if it goes to that point, then I'm going to be the ones coming in there and getting it. So a lot of the times I'll see these things, and most of the time it's wiring repairs, something electrical where they replace a sensor because that's what the code says, and that's not what the diagnostic test would have led to, and it needs fixed again. So they're replacing that, and then they go to the other end. Instead of the sensor, they're going to replace the ECM, when all along it was an unplugged connector or a pulled out pin someplace in the middle. Dude, I go through that kind of repair so often. It's such a pain in the butt. Such
Yeah, I think 4 or 5 Saturdays ago when I had worked previous time, my buddy was looking chasing down a vent solenoid code, put a vent solenoid on it, didn't fix it. He was telling me what he had to go about it, and I was like, all right, so what have you tested? He was like, I have power, on the power side at the
Hey,
connector,
Justin, thanks for stopping in,
and
buddy.
he was like, I think it's an ECM because it's not grounding or whatever it was. And I was like, all right, well, let's redo the entire test. I put a test light in between. I was like, you know what? Let's see what the voltage is exactly at the connector. And it was fluctuating between like 7 and 10 and whatever. And I was like, all right, I know what your issue is. He was like, what is it? He was like, is it an ECM? I said, no. Just peeled back a little bit of the loom out of it, pull the wire, and it was corroded wire that just broke apart.
We see that a lot with the wheel speed sensors on a lot of the earlier Jeeps, the Grand Cherokees, the Liberties. They drop wheels. Their speed doesn't work or something like that, and it throws a wheel speed sensor code. And guys look at the connector, nothing in there, and they replace that. Well, about 6 inches up where this connector comes down, the pigtail, it stretches and pulls from that rear end going up and down, and the wires will actually wear and break about 6 or 8 inches up from that. I see that one all the time too. I'd have to say though, one of the worst ones that I've ever seen was a tech recently in the last year or so had this Grand Cherokee in the shop, and it wasn't a customer's. It was one of our car and credit ones that he was doing a used car inspection on. So you go out and drive it, and on the coast side of things, you'd hear this horrendous howling noise only on deceleration. When you'd go to accelerate, noise goes away, 100% goes away. Sounds just like a front differential going out. So what's he do? He's actually pretty technically savvy, and he knows what he's doing. He's been doing it a long time. Not the diagnostic side of thing, obviously, as you'll come to find out. But he pulls the front diff out, and he changes the ring and pinion out. Puts it all back together, back in, goes and drives it. Same exact noise. This howling noise on deceleration only. And they're like, it's coming from the front. It is. I'm like, wow, how about that? So then try some more things. And he's kind of an older guy, so he doesn't know how to use a lot of the diagnostic things like chassis ears and stuff like that. So next he takes out the front drive shaft and goes to take it on a drive, and all of a sudden the noise goes away. Huh, all right. So he's pretty sure it's something in the transfer case, transferring over, when it's on decel of that one. waits about a week or so, gets a transfer case, puts a transfer case in it, puts it all back together, goes and drives it. Howling noise, horrendous on D-cell. Back again. I'm like, really? Like these are some pretty big little mess ups here for this howling noise. Like it's some expensive stuff that you're messing up here. Ringing pinion gears through Mopar, even in a Grand Cherokee, they're like $800 for a set. Yeah, that's pretty expensive. And then a transfer case on top of that. We got that one low mileage used, and that was like another $500 or $600 too. And then we ended up. He brought me over, and we ended up going through it. Put on something right after I got those new Steelman chassis ears. Put on the front diff, the transfer case, and the sound was in between. And it ended up being the CV in the front axle or the front drive shaft.
Wow.
That whole time, the CV, and it didn't have a boot ripped or anything. Just one of the bearings had blown out inside of the CVs. I'm like, wait, you said you took the front drive shaft out and the noise went away, and that like 1 + 1 = 7 or so. It didn't click.
Wow.
And yeah, it ended up being $150 front prop shaft after 3 or 4 weeks of waiting for everything. I'm like,
that would have probably that probably did suck for him.
Yep, the cheapest part is definitely the CV for that one. So yeah, we run into those little things every once in a while, and it sucks, especially when they're on flat rate. And I'm sure you can attest to this. I've been bit before, on some kind of things where the diagnostic test through Chrysler is actually wrong. I will do the test and it leads to this, and I replace that part and it still does it. I'm like, well, I mean, their test is wrong, because it says to replace this thing again, and having that part there wrong twice probably isn't going to be there. So being able to do, a re-diag on something that it really wasn't, a mess up in the first place, it's kind of the leeway for the lead technician or the person in the shop to be able to say, yeah, it wasn't his mess up in that area.
But then the service advisor, oh, it's your mess up, no matter what,
And
or
that's
the customer too.
Now your shop foreman, do they usually get him involved when it comes to some of those comebacks on putting his insight into whether it is a comeback, or it's just automatically the tech's fault?
It's automatic, pretty much the tech's fault. So, like you said, everyone gets their fair chance to look at instead of calling it a comeback, our dispatcher loves to call it your customer, your returning customer. So whoever has a recheck will get it, have the chance to re-diagnose it correctly, and then if not, they have to either get him involved or someone else that's like either me or another technician. Well, we all help each other out, but at the end, if he has to step in, then he takes the entire ticket over.
There you go. That's the key right there. You've got that looming over your head where if I don't get this figured out, somebody else is going to be able to take this thing from me. And
then you look horrible because now you lost that ticket and it's out the door. It's technically not your responsibility anymore, but you as a technician, that's you work off your pride of knowledge and all that stuff, ability to be able to determine what the fault is, and then you have to give it up, and it probably makes you feel like crap.
Yeah, it definitely is. When I have to get involved, they really don't want that. I get that look a lot where they're coming across the shop like, hey, can you come and help me have a look at this one? Like, yeah, you should have asked me this question probably a day or so ago, but yeah, let's go figure it out. And that's kind of what I'm there for at the shop, is to be able to not only help them to diagnose these things, but to also put some insight in for the service writer or service manager and say, yes, what this was probably should have been caught and it was just misdiagnosed. And so, yeah, it is a comeback. Or no, he went through the test. I went through the test with him again. It says it leads to this, but it's obviously not that. We very rarely have that, but it has happened here and there. It kind of sucks, but it does. And that gets into the point of like the flat rate system on top of that. Warranty, that's a whole nother thing. It just sucks, and Chrysler and any manufacturer for that point doesn't want to pay you for, rechecking a vehicle. If it comes back, then yeah, you messed up the diagnosis. And until you put another 4 hours into talking to a technical support center and going through this flow sheet process with them, they don't really want to pay you for that on top of it. So the other question I would have for you is, in your shop for the comebacks and stuff, like you said, the guy who's doing the comeback for you, if they give it to another tech, is going to get that ticket. Is there any other kind of incentives for lack of comebacks or, work like that?
Not pretty much like any incentive. So like if you have multiple rechecks, you'll kind of get pulled back on the amount of tickets that you're given to make sure that you're like, or the dispatcher will be like, are you sure you can handle this ticket, to like the younger guy, and say, sometimes it gets to the point like right now where we're so overwhelmed in work. We're not really overwhelmed. We have so much work to have. And he's like, Tony, I need you to take this ticket because he can't handle it, or he'll give it to the shop foreman and say the same thing to him. Like, this other guy can't handle it and he only has one ticket. I'm like, well, I have like 7 to 10 tickets. Like, what do you want me to do?
Yeah, you can't have that one. And being overloaded in the work area, it sucks that, every technician in your shop can't have the same abilities. And yeah, optimally, it'd be nice to have every single tech in the shop is able to be certified in everything across the board and not have comebacks. That's, the optimum point in the world, but that's not really ever going to happen.
But as a shop foreman, do you like back flag that technician and then you get paid off of that back flag?
So if I personally am given it and then I am working on it alone by myself, then yes, they will usually back flag that technician, and then they will just pay me for everything that I do. But as my point of helping that tech to get through that, no, I don't get paid on that one. I get paid a percentage of the shop efficiency hours of the entire shop as a whole. So I get paid a percentage off of how many hours that we turn. And that is what makes up for me helping with rechecks, giving that advice to the service writers and managers, and then also, helping those techs to help diagnose that maybe on a second round. But they also tell me that I should not be putting any more than like 15, 20 minutes in if that needs to happen.
Yeah, I think that's the same with like the shop foreman that we have. He doesn't get anything, like pretty much he gets like a small percentage of I think what the shop turns as well, for helping out the entire shop if they need help.
Mm-hmm.
So now, does every individual technician call like technical assistance, or is that something that, as your role as shop foreman, that you have to assist with?
No, each technician is supposed to be able to do that. However, half the shop does not know how to do that so well and so efficiently. So it's actually more beneficial for me to just take 15 minutes and put that ticket in. It kind of sucks, but that's the way it is. A lot of the older guys, they don't really want to learn how to put those kind of technical assistance tickets in. So I usually end up helping with that.
Yeah, we have a few older technicians that, like you said, don't want to learn the new technical, through the computer, because all of our stuff we have to now is pretty much an email formation where we type it in and then send it out. They'll email it back to us, and then if they have any like questions that they need, like pretty much over the phone, they'll call us, but we can't no longer call them anymore.
And they took that down for the Chrysler side of things a lot too. It's not quite that bad, but when we put a technical assistance in, we'll put in, they want to see data sheets. That's their biggest thing. They want to see scan reports, vehicle scans from the entire vehicle copied over from the live vehicle that's there. So you can't have a vehicle come in for the code and then the customer take it and then you start a ticket. You have to have the vehicle there. You'll put the ticket in, they'll go through it, and then pretty much any technician level 2 or higher is able to start a ticket. But you have to be level 3 master certified to be able to call in. or level 3, whatever it is, certified to be able to call in. If you aren't level 3, then you can only put in a ticket and wait for an email back. And like you said, they'll have to call you if they need anything else. But you know, as the level 3 techs, they're the only ones who can really call into tech center, and it takes so much less time. But at the same time, I don't like dealing with Star, our technical assistants, because they don't assist so much. It's just me putting that information into the system, almost as like a data log. Like, yes, this car has this issue. It's not fixable because it's a software malfunction with either radio or communication issues. Radios are a huge issue right now in Chrysler's world. Yes, they usually ignore those, as Speedy Chick says. Yeah, we have issues with radios, and the customer's like, I want somebody to do something with it. I'm like, well, I can't do anything because it's a software issue. So I have to put in a technical assistance number, start a case, start a ticket, put it in. They say, oh, there's nothing else we can do right now, and that's it. So it's a big waste of time. Yeah, it pretty much sucks. Yep, Speedy Chick, you know exactly how it is. They're definitely lacking in their assistance department. I usually end up wasting way more time with Star Center than they ever help me with.
Yeah, like you hit the nail on the head. It's usually more like the log it saying that I've called for assistance and it's out of my hands to be able to tell the customer, hey, it's not in our hands that we can be able to repair your car at the moment. We're, you know, in contact with GM, and either we're waiting for, like you said, a reprogram to be released for us personally to be able to repair your car at the same time.
Yeah, waiting for those things is one of the biggest headaches because the customer is constantly upset about it. They don't like to have to keep on coming back, but it's going to keep on occurring. And then the Star Technical Center is also very vague on any kind of information that they put out. So they're like, yes, that is a technical assistance issue that we are having currently, and we will be having a fix for that shortly. All right, is shortly like you're going to have it to me in a couple hours, a couple weeks, a month or so, and then they'll get back to me and they're like, it's supposed to come out Q2. Like, that is a 3-month window. That's what you're going to give me on it. So I'm going to have this customer come back, put their VIN in, check the updates sometime in that 3-month span. And of course, they're going to come back and it's not going to be available. So if there was a way for us to put in a technical assistance and then have them email us or notify us back when this update is available, that would be super nice.
But, and then us waiting on parts, everything that's on back order or not to be able to find anywhere in a dealership. No dealership in the entire U.S. has it. Like, what are you talking about?
Yeah, we had that issue with 2019 Rams where they would have this small creaking sound in the brakes when backing up only on mornings that were colder than 36 degrees. Legit, that's a TSB on there. So you're supposed to replace the pads, replace the pins and the hardware and the calipers. Okay, cool. Seems pretty simple. Let's do that. Yeah, we waited 2.5 months to get front brake hardware for a 19 Ram. Months. That is absolutely ridiculous. I see that issue so many times with parts. It's horrible. All right, Jim. Thanks for stopping in. I appreciate it. And actually, we've kind of gone over time, but you know what? When you're having fun, you can't help ourselves with that one. I'm going to put a link in the comments again here for the P10 magazine voting. Make sure you guys, if you have not already seen Jim's video on that one, for the guys over at Toolbox Widget, they are in P10's running for User's Choice Award for their tools over in that section. Make sure you guys click on that link and go and vote for the Toolbox Widget. I definitely recommend that one, and we're going to be seeing some really cool stuff coming out from them. Well, you have anything cool coming out on your channel here in the next week or so?
Not necessarily yet. Just a lot of videos I have to either edit or be able to find time right now, since like every day it's been extremely busy at work. So I'll go in at an early time and I'll leave at 7 o'clock just because we're so backed up on work sometimes, and just haven't had a chance to be able to film anything just yet.
Gotcha. Yeah, I totally get that one. Trying to make the time for even just editing, I think, is the hardest part that I've been having recently. But I'm going to have quite a few videos coming out. I've got a lot of stuff. I've got at least 3 videos already in the works that are at least half shot or all the way shot that I need to edit. We'll have a Nifty Tools video out this week with some new stuff to the market that you guys have not seen yet. They will be coming out here very soon. If you have not already, make sure you go over to 410 Auto Tech right down here, his channel. Click on that, subscribe to him, turn on his bell notification because he's got some pretty sweet stuff when it comes to his shop, as well as make sure you hit the thumbs up on this video. I always appreciate that one. Well, Tony, it was good talking with you. It was cool hanging out with everybody else here in the chat tonight. I appreciate it. So I guess we will say goodbye and thank you for tuning in tonight, guys. You guys stay awesome.
See you later, guys.